Oh, snap. I don't hear anything. Oh, should have said recording in progress. What's going on? Maybe because I have a different configuration here. You can see I'm using a motion censored camera stand too. Hmm. So,
Let go.
Asteroid of fear.
for all the viewers and listeners, welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast. And it is Unfiltered Friday, but I'm recording this Thursday night, of course. And it is April 9th, 2026. And that's partially why I'm recording. I made a post earlier. April 9th is a date of significance for me. It is April 9th, 2009 was day one of my first shift at University Medical Center Brackenridge, downtown Austin, nights, emergency department. Mm-hmm. Now, I started off like probably orientation and training, but my first like training shift on the floor, not classroom modules and stuff like that, was hey, me and I forget his Paul. It was Paul someone. We call him Mini P, which he hated absolutely because Paul Singh, who is a friend of mine, shout out to Paul. Hope you're listening. Hope you're doing well. Um, Wise man, kind of like a big brother I never had, but Mini P did not like to be called Mini P, especially over the intercom. And so me and Mini P had to take a dead body down to the morgue. That was my first assignment. So no big deal. But, let me preface this with I had already worked in the ER, I think around 2001. It was after 9/11 and I moved back and I worked in the ER. And then after working in the ER, I thought I wanted to be a doctor. Started college and volunteered instead of working in the ER, and ended up taking healthcare law and was like, meh, meh. Plus, one of my professors who was going to write grad school recommendations said, I don't think you would. He goes, I think you'd be a good doctor, but I don't think you would like being a doctor because, you know, he had the inside scoop. Because you're going to have some dickhead like me coming down on you to close your fucking charts. Yeah. So I didn't go that route. Wasn't my first dead body. Um, but, you know, little did I know how this would kind of shape me and lead me to where I'm currently at. Essentially, that day I kind of feel like healthcare chose me. Because for a long time, I mean, I tried all the different jobs I wanted to try. I mean, I could have stayed in the Navy. I could have graduated with my scholarship, got a commission, did 20 years in the Navy like my friend Dan, maybe been a CEO of a frigate or a destroyer or cruiser or whatever they make nowadays. And then be retired. Hmm. But I let love, feelings, emotions, things dictate a lot of my behavior. I couldn't stay steady through that. It was too much. Like my parents splitting up, me going through a bad breakup at the same time. It just felt like my whole fucking world fell apart. And going back to the fleet was not the plan. So I got out and I'd always wanted to cook, But, that didn't require a college education, so I was always dissuaded from doing that. But I moved to South Florida and cooked for a while. And it became a skill that I fell back upon and back upon. And, you know, I eventually worked my way through becoming a personal trainer. And through my cooking experience, I was still able to cook tasty food and lose weight. So that was like a win win where the skills come in clutch. And then, I became a personal trainer. Again, almost like being a doctor, like you're there to help the people, but then you always get sucked into like you need to be selling too, you know? It's like, well, mofos, you got a whole sales team. Let them sell. How about that? So I can train people. So, not all it was cracked up to be. Ended up falling back into cooking, became a sous chef, ended up at the Hills in Austin, which is a country club, cooking out there. And so it was the skill I fell back on. And, Gabby and I moved up there, and I did that for a while, worked at a mixed martial arts training facility, which was cool, except for the owner. He was a dick. Yeah, that dude. He's kind of one of those, like, if you're the salesperson and you're supposed to give the tour of the gym, tell him the amenities, he's always like that ego guy, like, hop in, like, hey, I'm the owner. Let me show you around. Like, I know you're proud of your shit, but let people do their fucking job. It just seems cringy. It's insecurity. Yeah. Ego and insecurity. But anywho, um, my wife ended up getting a job with Seton, but at Seton Northwest. And so I applied. I was like, well, I guess I could go back, you know, something steady. We were kind of in this like on and off jobs, like finding our footing, finding our way in Austin together. And then we ended up at the hospital where we both ended up there like 6, 7 years. But I initially had applied for registration because that's what I did in my first ER job. And then I guess they passed me off and I ended up being a senior clerk, which was way better. I'm so fucking glad. Thank you, Melissa, whoever you were. You dated Duncan. Maybe you're married to him. I don't know. But thank you for passing on me and sending me to Scooter or Kurt. Shout out if you're listening or anybody who knows him. Love Kurt. My type of guy. He, I remember him telling me, like, what do you think about this? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I worry about what I do. I don't, I'm not worried about what other fucking people are doing. Like, I'm trying to live up to my own expectations. He's like, I like that. He goes, because that's what I tell people. Like, you get fucking tattletales, like, so and so didn't restock, blah, 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 or this or that, the other. He's like, don't worry about what other people doing. You need to worry about what you're doing. I'm like, exactly. So he brought me on, and thank you, Kirk, for that. You might have changed the world. Now that I'm podcasting and trying to start up this thing, yeah, essentially, your decision impacted me. But, you know, level one trauma, BRAC, the ER, was the city county hospital, I guess you could say. And it wasn't necessarily like a place you wanted to go unless you were really bad off. And then you wanted to go there because they had the best. They had all the specialties. They had everyone on call. Oh, and we're back. We paused for the cause for 1 second. So, like I was saying, they have everyone on call, every specialty. So it wasn't like super fancy schmancy, but It's kind of like the Marine Corps, underfunded, but the best. Maybe like the Marine Corps meets SEAL Team 6. Because, you know, now they have it with the medical school and all. It's probably all dappered up and highest of the tech and all that. But, you know, that was one of the longest jobs I ever had was 6, 7 years, I think. And that I had stayed at one place kind of as a young man, finding my footing, that I felt comfortable, um, that felt like home. And you learn a lot, some good, some bad. I mean, some of it, if you know my story, being on a bus that ran over the girl in front of me, at 7, finding a family member, OD'd at 8, um, seeing death within high school, when I was a young man, family members passing away, people close to me, death in the military, then that first DR, first day, guy fell off third, it was almost time, quitting time. He fell off third floor and landed on a piece of rebar, went under his butt cheek up into his chest cavity. And I saw the dude come in. When it happened, he was pale as a ghost. He's like, my friend needs help. Yeah, that was my first shift in that ER. And I had just turned 25 around then. So, yeah, no stranger to death and its ugly head. But, you know, I learned other things. Well, you learn about working with the best. You learn about they police their own, they eat their own. If you suck, they're going to tell you. They're going to stick you in the step unit, watching sore throats and psych patients. They're not going to allow you to take care of something critical. You're not going to get to hone your skills unless you earn it, unless you show that you're capable. Um, Not only as an individual, but also a team player. Um, in trauma, it is there are spots on the floor. Everybody's got you step in your feet, and you have a certain role to do. And that's what makes it work. And I absolutely loved it. And it taught me other stuff because, that's the kind of job that you either love it or you don't. You're built for it or you're not. And because, like, my base pay was like 13 something to start off an hour, which was the most I had ever made. But add on like $1.50 for nights or weekends and another dollar for the other. And, that was the most I'd ever made. So that was bonus one. But, bonus two, I was just given my background in the military, kitchens, like I'm used to fast pace, high intensity, shit happens fast, good and bad. Like things burning, you get burnt, cut, you gotta be careful. High pressured situations. I was used to all that and absolutely thrived in it. Um, but you learn concepts such as you're never going to get paid what you're worth or what you think you're worth, probably. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. Neither here nor there. The point is like, you have these people who are like, well, I'll give that amount of effort when I have a job that pays $25 an hour, but I'm not giving $25 fucking effort for $12 an hour. Well, when life and death is on the hand, like, you don't, or on the line, it's not, oh, well, I'm only gonna half-ass you. Well, they don't pay me enough for you to quite have your ear. I think I'll just inventory that and toss that and throw that away. Shit like that. Because part of my job was belongings, or, they'd come in with somebody's leg detached from them because he just hit a guardrail on a crotch rocket. Um, Ears, hands, I've had to ice in buckets so they could reattach them, because I was the belongings guy. That also meant 8 ball side pocket. How was my mastery? Little. I don't like cocaine. I just like the smell of it. Yeah. And then APD always wants to get in touch with you then because cocaine, it's a felony. So, you're out there getting skeetered up with Uncle Laser. Be on the lookout for the popo and test it. It ain't the same shit it used to be. Not that I would know, but so I hear. But yeah, it was. You give all the effort and you just naturally advance because, I mean, yeah, my only beef with them was if you're clinical, you got a 6% raise. If you're non clinical, you get 3%. It costs clinical people more to live, I guess. Bunch of fucked up administrators. Yeah. Nothing against clinical people either. I love them too. Most of them. But I have met some nurses and some doctors that are, I wouldn't let them fucking operate on a Cabbage Patch Kid. Mm-mm. Dumb fucks. Met a lot of good leaders and a lot of poor fucking leaders too. Good doers don't always make good leaders. Sometimes you need to keep your doers doing because that's where they thrive. You know, if you're the fucking charge nurse and I can't find you because you're too busy helping everybody and nobody can find you, the transfer line can't get you because when you could delegate some nurse who has a small room to help the person in the bigger room, instead you're Mr. Captain Save a Ho, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of med students on their rotations, some good, some bad. Again, they're doctors, they're humans. Some of them are slightly retarded too. You call the call room and the phone's ringing, you can walk by, you be on the cellar, like looking at it like it's a foreign object, typing away. Nobody wants to answer it, nobody wants to take responsibility. I remember one doctor's like, we had a trauma stat like a couple minutes out. He's like, what side should I put this on? And blah, 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 blah. And just a thousand questions. He went to BYU. He had BYU scrubs on. I remember that. I'm like, dude, just, you're about to know everything you want to know and then some in like 2 minutes, man. Just, you heard the same shit in code we did. Simmer down, you know? So just things like that. Lots of fun. Some of my favorite people, some of the best times. But it gave me a great foundation when I moved into management. And I had one particular case where a guy coded in our parking lot and his mother was there and I had to drive her to the ER and because she had ridden with him and through my experience I knew how everything was going to go and so I was able to tell her, inform her, coach her. Because I mean, my charge nurse and our lead nurse and nurse manager left on the truck doing CPR with EMS. That's how bad it was. But, I could give her education, peace of mind, and say, hey, they're not going to let you back right away. You're going to want to find the social worker and you're going to want to find the chaplain. Those are going to be your lifelines. as to what's going on. You know, this is what they're doing. This is the process. Kind of reassuring what's normal, what's not, what to look out for. And I can remember driving, going, kind of having like a aha moment of almost everything in my life had led up to that moment, and me having the wherewithal, the words to put her at ease as I drove her to the hospital from my clinic while she's concerned that the worst is happening to her son. So that's what this new role is going to be. The same thing. Last year after taking care of Buck and taking him through the whole process of hoping he would get better or walking to the end, whatever God or universe decided, and ultimately ended up being the end. But, you know, being a living caregiver because, his family didn't want to do with it. And frankly, they were too old, I think. I don't think they could have done it alone. And so, and they weren't local. I mean, he was 97, so you got to figure his youngest daughter was probably in her mid to late 70s, or his oldest. Um, that's a safety issue. So, you could see, but it felt like the right thing to do. We prayed about it as a family and was like, yeah, we want to do it. And that was more along this line of nobody should die alone. And, you know, after taking him through the whole hospice process, that led me to pursue becoming a doula, specifically an end of life doula. They had a book club today, and I had class, so did a lot of doulaing today. Tired. And then I had to install new strip lights in my office, which was a total frustration and pain at the wrong time. It just set me back time wise. Like, whoa, I was on such a roll of getting stuff done, and this would have been done earlier, and now it's going to be later. And I'm like, "Argh." But I trust the process. I got new lights. It needed to be done. I have no idea what that had to do with anything. Oh, that I was tired, exhausted, doing a lot of doula-ing today. But essentially it's about showing up, being present, reassuring, just like I did to that mother. Hey, this is normal, this is not. This is what to look for. Kind of a thermostat. It's very stressful for the family. You can be the voice of reason. You can be the calm in the room. You can assure them, hey, this is not painful. This is normal. This is part of the process. You can say, hey, here's the window. This is when you want to shore up any things. If you got anything to say it now. It's interesting. It's like in the ER, you see where life begins, you see where life ends. Family practice, you see all of life, everything in between that made it from the emergency room and out of the emergency room, managing people's life's conditions. And now I'm going into the transition part of it, the end of it. Hmm. It's almost like a full career. I'll be turning 50. I thought I was going to be like moving into bigger offices and C suites and stuff, but no, it's not where I've been called. But who knows? Hey, I have an office. It's bigger than my old one. I don't have a commute. I don't have to wear a tie. And maybe one day I will have a C suite. C for craft. And it'll be all the crafts in there. A family business, taking care of people, ensuring people don't die alone, but also giving people the support, the knowledge, the education, the comfort, helping them through this difficult time, doing some peace of mind planning sessions so they know, you know, none of us want to suffer. None of us want to be in pain. But we need to not make fear based decisions because of that. And if there's something we can debunk and give you back a little control, allow you to have a little bit of choice in the matter, should something happen, should you get a terminal diagnosis, you'll know what you want ahead of time. Maybe you have a stroke or a heart attack, you're left with paralysis, nonverbal. Need to know your wishes. What's a quality of life to you? We're going to be able to talk all that out and go over that. So be thinking about it because I'm going to be hitting you up, asking you for your support. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. It's starting to come together and make sense, I think, as I slow down. I think maybe I don't know if I was trying to please too many people. Maybe I was just not honed into the right area. Then something slowed me down and said, you're where you need to be. Now focus and do what you need to do. So those people, so you can be of service because that's what's fulfilling to me. Being useful, being of service, showing up when it counts. And the only way to do that is to immerse myself in this, become as fluent in it as possible, and to get the word out. People knowing who I am and what I do, and that I can be there for them when this time comes. And of course, I'll be calling on you guys to help spread the good word because you guys make it possible. Because another part of that, as you might guess, is for those who want their story told. I want to be able to record that legacy piece for them, tell their story. It's one of my favorite things to do. Sit and have a meaningful conversation with someone about their life, what's important and what's not. So other people can avoid the riffraff and stop looking at the phone and the news and the world and what the world's telling you you should or can be or want or whatever. Like, just make up your own fucking mind. Do what you like. What sets your heart on fire? What calls you? For me, it's service. Service to others when it counts. Showing up when nobody else will. And that's what fulfills me. So, figure that out for yourself. And in the meantime, till next time, go out and be the person that you want to meet. Peace.
Let go. Asteroid of fear.